Express yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, friend. I genuinely, authentically, and really do hope that. Welcome back to the studio, and welcome back to Chelsea News, my friend, of which there is some to talk about. Mykhailo Mudryk made maybe a smart decision. Mykhailo Mudryk, or however you pronounce his first name. Such a talented player. This kid, his transfer fee could go up to $88 million. I think Chelsea have to win both the Premier League and Champions League for that to happen. But he's made a sensible decision. He's playing right now for Ukraine, I believe. He scored, but was given as an own goal. And this guy, remember when Shakhtar selling him, they said, look, there's two left wingers or left forwards currently better than Mudryk, and that is Mbappe, who's like a left-sided sort of, kind of like Thierry Henry style player, and Vinicius Jr. So they are putting him on a high pedestal, big time, and there's a profound amount of excitement around Mudryk. So I look forward to talking about his decision in this video. We're going to talk about also, I did want to reference, I saw an Instagram post that reminded me about the Club World Cup and how Chelsea have qualified for it. And that is good. Chelsea playing in a top tier competition despite not being good at the moment. And that's because we won the Champions League recently. We're going to talk about that. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate everyone dropping a like on the video and subscribing to the content and turning the bell on should you choose to subscribe. Thank you for your likes and subscriptions. I eat them up. Nom 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 nom. Alright then, before we talk about Mudryk and why I think this is smart, Chelsea are set for FIFA Club World Cup in 2025, so a couple of seasons from now, but this is important because they're changing the format of the Club World Cup. I actually think this will be quite exciting. A Champions League style competition with 32 teams, but it's global teams. Remember how exciting it is when you go to the Club World Cup and you play these South American teams that have an amazing, passionate following and support. Football is everything in South America, so these teams that come from all around South America is really, really exciting. But of course, not just them, loads and loads of teams. So the tournaments the tournament which Chelsea won in its current format last season, of course, the only trophy we had yet to win, the Club World Cup, excluding the conference, but up to that point. So we will, it will change in 2025 and we'll be a part of that. Europe has 12 of those places, with 4 of them for Champions League winners in each of the 4 years leading up to 2025. And of course, we just sneak in there at 2021, so we've qualified for that competition. Yes, and then you get additional teams determined by club ranking. By the way, right now our club ranking isn't great, or I'm assuming it's not great because we finished in the bottom half of the table. But the fact how we just sneak in that window is a really, really good thing for 2 reasons. One, of course, being in what I deem an exciting competition. Yes, there might be negative connotations to FIFA being greedy and, they're not the nicest corporation or institution or whatever, and they've always been jealous of UEFA's Champions League revenue. Of course, and UEFA get the Euros and FIFA get the World Cup, but they wanted a club competition. And this is their opportunity to do that. I know, more football isn't always great, but I think it's, it's an exciting opportunity to, cross-pollinate? That's not the right word, but just not wait for the Club World Cup and, a couple of games every season for certain teams to play. You get an opportunity to see different cultures, different leagues go at it. And I haven't actually spoken about this before on the channel, and I feel like it's my desire and duty to share this stuff with you guys. And and also I wanted to mention how this competition represents tens of millions of pounds in the revenue, which of course the big financial bosses at Chelsea will be thinking about when they do their money books stuff. So yeah, I think that's really good. Chelsea will be in there. We've just snuck in with our recent Champions League win, just in the window, blagged it despite being crap. And what I look forward to by then, hopefully Pochettino is still in situ, playing some big, iconic international teams with Chelsea, with a well-coached Chelsea team, with developed players, one of which should be Mykhailo Mudryk. So let's talk about that. Mudryk playing right now. He has, like I said, to reinforce the context here, this kid is meant to be like not necessarily amazing now, but in terms of potential, he is meant to be ridiculous because he's like this super dedicated, God-fearing, athletic machine who is just, you know, he's really like dense, muscular, but he's just incredibly fast. And it looks like he could be so destructive in the Premier League. You know, high hopes, came to Chelsea, landed in what is a mental dysfunctional season that's pretty much, you know, infected everyone who's near it with its toxicity. But he's considering joining the Under-21s Championship for Ukraine this summer. Now, that sounds like an underwhelming story, but it's really not. So Mudryk, in terms of Ukrainian like player profile, he's top of the tree with, you know, Alexander Zinchenko, of course, of Arsenal, once of Manchester City. Like these two Premier League guys, they were big in with Shevchenko, with planning this game at Stamford Bridge for Ukraine and for support for Ukraine. It was actually part of the transfer, I believe. You know, and everyone went, oh, we went to Chelsea for the money and not Arsenal. No. Firstly, he gets 90k a week, which is, you know, compare that to some Arsenal salaries. I think Saka's on 350 a week or something, or 300, you know. So, you know, I'm not saying Saka doesn't deserve that. He is like the icon of Arsenal, by the way. I'm just trying to add context. But he came to Chelsea with this long-term security, this long-term deal, even if it's not high wages, and stuff like this, you know. They're sitting down, what means a lot? What can we help for you? What means a lot to you? And obviously organising this game, Chelsea for Ukraine against... you know, what are the other players and stuff. I think it's a good element of why he signed the deal. But he wants to play himself into form so that he's ready for the season. I think this is actually a really wicked opportunity, and so much so I got a feeling like, yeah, Mudryk, finding form, pressure off, get away from the season, play with your countrymen, remember what you can do as a Super Saiyan footballer, you know. This is an exclusive from Matt Law on The Telegraph. He writes, Chelsea winger Mykhailo Mudryk is ready to play for Ukraine in the summer's European Under-21 Championship in a bid to recapture his best form for next season. Pause, also worth mentioning, though, congratulations to Levi Colwill for being called up to the senior England squad as a defender because Lewis Dunk had to pull out, I believe. It's speculated and believed that Levi Colwill will still play in this championship. He's just training for the moment with the first team, getting acclimatised for a 19-year-old Chelsea, another teenage Chelsea player. Just such incredible potential. We've spoken about Chukwuemeka, Slanina. Well, you know, obviously we signed Paez, but he's not a Chelsea player yet. And, you know, the Cesare Casadei and Andre Santos being incredible. It's yet to be confirmed whether or not Mudryk will be part of the squad. That starts on June the 21st, so 9 days' time from now. But Chelsea have backed his decision to leave the door open, so this is good. So Chelsea signed Mudryk in a deal worth £88 million in January. Context again, it's about 60 million up front. So that to reach that 88 million, Chelsea would have to reach dizzying heights. Now, it's, you know, they would be quite happy to play that money. But the 22-year-old has taken time to adapt to English football. He's 22. Can he play at under-21s? I know there's a little bit of leniency. I guess there is. And taking time to adapt to English football and spent most of the second half on the substitutes bench, second half of the season, excuse me. But then Frank did bring him in towards the end. He did look incredible off the bench at Anfield, but as soon as we got our claws into him, his confidence left. Again, it's the context of the season in its entirety that you have to look at here. Mudryk's desire to recapture his form and confidence with the under-21s is thought to have impressed new head coach Mauricio Pochettino and his staff. The Argentine officially starts working on, of course, the beginning of July. Ukraine's senior team, who are in the same group as England, are preparing for a European Championship qualifying games against North Macedonia on Friday night and Malta next week. And Mudryk has started Monday's friendly against Germany, which is going on now. But despite being the senior in the senior squad, and one of the highest profile players in the senior squad, he is still also eligible for the under-21s for this summer's tournament in Romania and Georgia, and has made 16 under-21 appearances in the past. Having played relatively few minutes in the second half of the season for Chelsea, Mudryk is understood to believe that playing for the Ukraine's under-21s this summer could help him find some rhythm at a critical time. Should he do so, then Mudryk will undoubtedly be one of the star attractions in the tournament. Absolutely. This is really smart, like I said, because he's playing with his countrymen. He's playing with players probably a bit younger than him, maybe not much, because in under-21s it's usually like 19 to 21, isn't it? They try and get the best players in there. He will feel like, I'm not playing with children, but I'm playing with guys that I can feel confident about. You know, I've signed a big money deal, Arsenal wanted me, Chelsea wanted me, I'm for a lot of money, I'm in, scintillatingly good physical shape. And I can express myself here. Again, I can communicate freely in my language. I can play it at a slower level, and I can find my feet again. So I think this is a really exciting idea, and one that's impressed Pochettino. Mudryk has already had 2 weeks off following the end of Chelsea's season, and the under-21s final is played on the 8th of July, meaning the player would still get some time off before his club's pre-season starts. Okay, that's good in the US. The decision of Mudryk to make himself available, despite now being a senior international, is in contrast with Callum's Hudson-Odoi, who opted to play not for England's under-21s. Do you remember that was a massive story? He's pulled out of the side despite being called up. And yeah, Gareth Southgate didn't like that. He was playing, he called up both Hudson-Odoi and Sancho, and they had similar profiles. Sancho was tearing up for Dortmund, but this is the same time Bayern Munich wanted to pay £70 million for Hudson-Odoi. They were recognised as both really good talents that could play on either side. Hudson-Odoi was left winger, Jadon Sancho was right winger. They were mates. His mate, Jadon Sancho, was understandably being called up for England at the time for loads of caps. He didn't get a call up because he wasn't getting the play time. So he says, no, I don't want to go back to under-21s. It feels like I'm going backwards, which was a silly thing to do, really, because Conor Gallagher did when he had to, and he's never looked back since. He should have just gone for that. And Gareth Southgate didn't like that from Hudson-Odoi. Also, Gareth Southgate used to be the under-21s coach. He knows how important it is for that transition. Chelsea may well have to try and sell Hudson-Odoi in the summer, following an underwhelming loan at Bayer Leverkusen. Tuchel criticised his decision to not make himself available, so Tuchel as well, saying this: "If I speculate a little bit, I think it's about disappointment that he's not nominated for the first team, but at the same time, maybe he did not have enough minutes to be nominated for the first team. I could see the upgrade in having some minutes and just being a leading role in the under-21s. But he decided differently, so he will deal with the consequences." Another example of how erudite Thomas Tuchel could have been. Boy, I miss that. And that was a great part of Thomas Tuchel's management, wasn't it? Just speaking and being so eloquent and kind of charismatic and at times poetic. But he's gone, and he's not doing great with Bayern, to be honest. So I do believe in the passion and the ethos and the philosophical approach of our current gaffer, Mauricio Pochettino, but maybe perhaps not as much in the delivery and communication capacity. Though I think... Mia's scratching at the door. Though I think this is a really good idea of Mykhailo Mudryk. Let me know what you think. Comment down below on the Chelsea Club World Cup. Of course, this is a future thing, but I actually think it's good and something I felt positive thinking about it, so maybe you do too. I hope that you do too. And Mudryk, man. Let me know what you think about Mudryk making this decision and what you think he could do next season. I'd be very interested in reading those comments. So, thanks for joining me. Turn the bell on when you subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace.